Hello everyone, Douglas Macbeth with my review of week 2. But actually I want to start with the discussion in week 1. I missed it live and I've just caught up with the programme details on that discussion. It was facilitated by Phil Dungay from IACCM and Azura Ghazali from Shell. And Shell just won the IACCA Innovation Award, which is also timely given that week 3 is about innovation. I found this a really interesting presentation and I would encourage you to try and download it now and review it carefully. I think there's a lot of really interesting messages in this work. I've highlighted a few things that I took out of it, so I would just like to focus on that. Essentially, the aim was to make Shell easy to do business with, and therefore to avoid all the complex legal discussions and intense bits of paper, but also make it easy to cross all sorts of national and jurisdictional boundaries across the globe. So it starts off with simplification, identification of the need from the Shell business end and some understanding of what their customers will also need, but with the requirement to keep it simple, reduce clutter, reduce duplicates, reduce non-essential details. Very much about process. Multiple stakeholders involved, again timely given our stakeholder exercise, where you really want to draw on the experience of the stakeholders, not just to do it as it always has been done, but to use their expertise to find out what's possible in a new way of working, driven by new principles. And then with these new principles, replace complex words with simple pictures where possible. And one of the beautiful outcomes of this particular project is that what starts off as being a simplified contract document ends up as being an operational guide that people can actually use rather than just fight over the contract terms. Other interesting outcomes, that it's actually saved Shell some internal costs because there are fewer disputes, fewer or occasions of when expertise around the organisation is needed to sort out a problem. They've actually saved money. And interestingly, it has also supported the sales process. The salespeople can get involved with this, understand what it is they're actually saying to their customers and the implications of that. So again, the beauty is it's now no longer just a procurement contract management document. The principles have been so well received and the examples so well evaluated that it's spreading out into all customer facing documents. So again, it reinforces our message in this MOOC that the principles of good contract management cross organisational boundaries to outside suppliers and customers, but also to internal customers and suppliers, so that this really is an important subject we are all studying. From this week's discussions, there's a lot of debate about the role of power. It's not going to go away, so let's learn how to live with it. I'd like to pick up a couple of other points, particularly one from Jeanette Ackroyd, who talks about a local government situation of identifying the benefits of having smaller local suppliers who really want to satisfy the customer. Her experience is that sometimes the bigger suppliers aren't quite as committed. Of course, in the UK currently, and in the rest of Europe, there are EU procurement processes which make it impossible to award contracts solely on the basis of local provision. This doesn't stop the opportunity for small and medium enterprises locally, but it just means that you do have to be very careful in defining the requirement so that some local benefit is recognised in all of the bidders' tenders, and that way the smaller local medium enterprises might have a chance to get a part of the big spend process. So local government certainly needs to be very careful about these things. Another of the big questions which raise their importance, given the UK's intention or declared intention of leaving the European Union. I personally believe that the EU procurement processes are very close to being best practice and not just applicable to local government. Anyway, off my high horse again. Some other issues I've highlighted. Discussions about outsourcing, and I would just reiterate my view that risk is never outsourced. People talk as if it can be, talk about reallocating risk to where it's best placed for management, but the risk actually still comes back to the purchaser of the goods or services in the end. And earlier discussion about major failures in public procurement just make that more obvious. So, other issues to look forward to apart from the innovation discussions this week. The poll on supplier interaction is still going, and we'll get those results in a state ready to feedback this week as well. So well done to those who are still with us and actively participating. Some of the discussions have really been not just comments but discussions, which is great. So please keep that going, and hope you enjoy the rest of the MOOC into its final week. And I'll say a few words at the end of that time as well. So best of luck, please enjoy, and please spread the word. Thank you. Bye now.